morning. I usually wait for the end of the week to clean out the fridge to make the frittata on a Sunday morning, but this frittata was so delicious, and I'm gonna make it again because A, I have the ingredients, and B, it was so delicious and so fulfilling and so satisfying. And I'm gonna walk you through the steps. This is the last piece, which I am about to eat, but before I do, I wanted to show you how chock full it is. I'm gonna start with a full package of mushrooms. I like Baby Bellas. I'm gonna clean them off by just tossing them around in some water and then lay them out on some paper towel. See all that filthy, dirty water? Toss it. Take my trusty flexible cutting board, and I like to slice my mushrooms. I always trim off the tips, one end, center, spin it around, other end. Remember that mushrooms shrink when you cook them, so you don't want to slice them too thin. I'm going to put about a half a tablespoon of butter, or even less, in a saute pan with just a little tab of oil to heat up. That butter and oil will tell you by listening to it. Lay them in the pan and leave them alone for a few minutes. Meanwhile, back at the cutting board, we are going to stem and clean a couple of heads of broccoli. We're going to steam these and chop them, so you can just snap off the broccoli heads. Let's put our broccoli crowns into a steamer basket. Pop on the lid, turn it on high. If your mushrooms are releasing a lot of liquid, I'm going to toss some of that out before I continue to saute them on the far side. Our mushrooms are sauteing and our broccoli is steaming. Let's chop about a quarter of an onion. I'm doing this for the size of a small saute pan. So if you're doing it for a larger size, you may want more onion. By the time our onion is chopped, our mushrooms are done, and our broccoli is steamed. Let's turn that off. I'm going to let that cool down for a few minutes. You could run this under some cold water if you're in a hurry. Well, our ingredients are all ready, so it's time to build the frittata. Once again, I'm going to start with a tiny pat of butter and a tiny splash of oil just to get those onions sauteing. I can hear that sizzle. That pan is calling out for some chopped onion. Get them all coated up. I don't want to burn them, so I'm going to turn them down just a little bit to a medium-low. And while they're doing their magic, I am going to chop the broccoli. Take a knife and give it a nice, chunky chop. At medium-low, it's not going to take more than 3 minutes for those onions to get nice and translucent, and we're going to cover that with our sauteed mushrooms. Space those out nice and evenly, because once they're in, they're going to stay put. I'm going to add a little arugula between layers here. It's a nice little surprise in the middle. And then I'm going to lay my broccoli on top of that to weigh it down. Let that heat start to waft up. You can cover it so it starts to steam and heat all of those ingredients. Let's break some eggs. For a saute pan this small, I think 4 eggs is plenty. While this is sauteing, I'm going to turn on my broiler, because that's how we're going to heat the top of the frittata. I'm going to give this a little whisk. Pepper and salt your eggs while you're whisking. The condensation on this lid tells me that my ingredients are heated through, and now I'm just going to pour my egg mixture right on top of the broccoli. You're going to want to let that set for a good 2 to 3 minutes before you touch it. After about 2 minutes, you start to see bubbles and steam around the edges. If you push a spatula down and the whole thing moves, or the edges just stay firm, you know you are good to go. That is ready to go in the oven. But before it does go in the oven, I am going to cover it with some cheese. I always have some cheddar cheese in the fridge. To me, it's the perfect addition. There we go. This goes on the top shelf, right under the flame. Close it up and keep an eye on it. 2 minutes and that baby is done. I can smell it. Oh, come on, look at that. Is that gorgeous? I can tell from the top that this is done, but if you feel that it is too loose, you could always sit it back on the stove for another couple of minutes, just to give it another 2 minutes or so to firm up. I don't mind it being a little Underdone. Because more often than not, I'm gonna nuke this as the week goes on. For the couple of minutes that frittata was under the broiler, I was able to wash and scrub my pots, my pans, my knives, my cutting board. Clean as you go. That's the motto in my kitchen. It's time to ease this guy right out of that pan. I'm gonna give it a little nudge underneath and slip it right on there. There we go. That is gorgeous. And that is the Marotta Frittata. Make your own. Make it up as you go. What do you like in a frittata? You could have this hot in the morning. You could have it cool in the evening. You could have it warm with lunch, with a little salad. You've got protein, you've got vitamins, you've got vegetables, you've got flavor. It's so delicious. It'll last me all week long. Thanks for watching. Bye.